I got married in Italy. Am I saying you copied me by getting married in Italy? Who performed at my wedding? You stole my wedding country and my wedding performer.
Imagine walking into a billionaire's wedding, expecting to network your way into the biggest deal of your career, only to watch that golden ticket slip right past you and land in the hands of someone half your age. That's the rumor swirling around Kim Kardashian after Jeff Bezos' star-studded Venice wedding. The internet is buzzing with claims that Bezos turned down Kim and handed a $1 billion opportunity to actress Sydney Sweeney instead. But is that what really happened? Or is the story way more complicated than the headlines want you to believe? But first, let's rewind to Venice, because that's where everything started. Late June in Venice, Italy. Jeff Bezos and Lauren Sanchez throw one of the most lavish weddings of the year, pulling in a guest list that looked more like the Oscars than a private ceremony. Sitting among royalty, Hollywood elites, and power players were two names that set the internet on fire: Kim Kardashian and Sydney Sweeney. Kim's presence wasn't shocking. She's been orbiting billionaire circles for years. But Sydney's invitation raised eyebrows. Reports connected her spot on the list to her growing partnership with Amazon MGM Studios. To some, it looked like Bezos was signaling who he was betting on next. The contrast was striking. Kim, a 43-year-old mogul with a $4 billion shapewear empire, sat across from Sydney, a 27-year-old actress being labeled Hollywood's it girl. The photos told the story, Kim looking polished but guarded, Sydney beaming with fresh momentum. And when the wedding was over, it wasn't the food or the music making headlines. It was speculation about why both women were in that same room. Some fans saw it as a passing of the torch. Others called it coincidence. But whispers said the weekend wasn't about socializing, it was about deals. And that's where the infamous $1 billion chatter began. But that wasn't the whole story, because what sounded like Bezos writing Sydney a $1 billion check, turns out the truth is way more tangled. Here's where the internet did what it does best: spin one number into a wildfire. Headlines screamed that Sydney Sweeney had scored a $1 billion investment from Jeff Bezos. And if that were true, yes, it would have been a direct humiliation for Kim, especially since she's been trying to expand her private equity footprint through her firm SKKY Partners. But let's break this down. The $1 billion figure didn't come from Sydney's lingerie brand. It came from reports that Bezos and fellow billionaire Michael Dell committed about $1 billion into a Coatue management fund. Coatue, run by Ben Schwerin, is a huge investor in consumer and tech ventures. And yes, Sydney's upcoming lingerie line is said to be one of the fund's early plays. So, the reality? Bezos didn't cut a $1 billion check to Sydney. He invested in a fund. That fund, in turn, is reportedly backing Sydney's new business. It's still huge for her, but it's not the fairy tale payday some headlines made it sound like. Here's why this nuance matters. A fund with $1 billion doesn't mean one startup gets $1 billion. It means investors like Bezos provide capital, and fund managers spread that money across multiple companies. Sydney might get a slice, but not the whole cake. Still, in the court of public opinion, none of that mattered. Social media ran with the story that Kim had been passed over while Sydney walked away with her deal, and perception, especially in Hollywood, can sting more than reality. But this wasn't the first time Kim's name got tied to Bezos and billion-dollar dreams. Because while the gossip ran wild online, Kim had already been laying the groundwork for years. Now here's the part people forget. Kim isn't just a reality star showing up to red carpets, she runs a billion-dollar empire already. Her shapewear brand SKIMS has been valued at around $4 billion, making it one of the most successful celebrity-founded companies of the last decade. For someone who started out on reality TV, that's a staggering climb. But Kim wasn't stopping there. In 2022, she co-founded SKKY Partners, a private equity firm designed to expand beyond fashion and beauty. The goal was simple: move from being the product to owning the portfolio. Her vision? Generational wealth. Not just money now, but money for decades. Still, there's been a shift. While Kim was announced as a co-founder, recent filings and coverage describe her as senior operating advisor, suggesting she's not the one managing deals day to day. This is where perception and ambition collide. For Kim, being seen with Bezos at his wedding wasn't just social, it was signaling. She wanted the world to think she was playing at the same billionaire table. But when the narrative flipped and Sydney's name started circulating with Bezos' money, the internet spun it as Kim being downgraded. And that's where the story takes a dramatic turn. Because while Kim has the empire, Sydney has the momentum. This is where speculation really took off. Online chatter painted the Venice wedding as a showdown. Kim versus Sydney. On one side, a 43-year-old mogul trying to pivot into finance. On the other, a 27-year-old actress reportedly launching her own lingerie brand, with headlines linking her to Bezos' billion-dollar commitment. To be clear, no credible outlet has confirmed Kim was ever promised a Bezos-backed investment or that Sydney directly replaced her. But in the rumor mill, facts don't matter. What sticks is the idea that Kim was snubbed and Sydney was chosen. Why Sydney? She's got the heat. Amazon MGM has cast her in multiple projects, including high-visibility roles. She has a first-time founder story that makes her seem fresh, authentic, and unfiltered compared to Kim, who faces endless speculation about surgeries, edits, and image control. Fans and tabloids love the contrast. The rising sweetheart versus the established mogul. And let's not ignore the optics. Sydney launching a lingerie brand with whispers of Bezos' backing sounds like a direct hit on Kim's lane with SKIMS. Even if the money trail is more complicated, the perception is ruthless. Sydney represents youth, relevance, and a new billionaire favorite. For Kim, who has built her entire brand on staying relevant and controlling narratives, that kind of buzz is brutal, especially when it plays out on social media, where the headlines always travel faster than the corrections. But that wasn't the end of the story, because when you strip away the gossip and look at what we can actually prove, the picture looks very different. So what do the receipts actually say? We know Kim Kardashian was at Jeff Bezos and Lauren Sanchez's wedding in Venice. We know Sydney Sweeney was there too. We know Bezos and Michael Dell committed about $1 billion to a Coatue fund. And we know Sydney's lingerie brand is reportedly one of the startups that fund is backing. What we don't know, and what no one has proven, is that Kim lost out on a billion-dollar deal. There's no document, no filing, no credible business outlet showing Bezos ever promised money to Kim. The rest is internet storytelling. That said, perception still matters. Sydney now carries the narrative of being Bezos' new favorite, whether that's fair or not, and Kim carries the weight of being painted as the one left out, even though she still runs a multi-billion-dollar company. The bigger truth? This wasn't really about humiliation. It was about optics, timing, and how quickly narratives can spread. Sydney's brand hasn't even launched yet, while SKIMS continues to expand globally. But if her lingerie line takes off with Amazon-level backing, it could pose a long-term challenge to Kim's empire. And that's the real takeaway. This isn't just a feud or a wedding headline. It's a snapshot of how business power shifts in real time. Billionaires, celebrities, startups, they all collide in the same ecosystem. And sometimes perception hits harder than reality. So where does this leave us? On one side, you've got Kim Kardashian, a household name who turned controversy into a global empire. She's not just famous, she's a proven business force. SKIMS alone has become a cultural phenomenon. And with SKKY Partners, she's openly chasing billionaire status, not just through fame, but through private equity power plays. On the other side, you've got Sydney Sweeney, half Kim's age, but with the kind of buzz money can't buy. She's building momentum at the exact moment Bezos and other power players are shifting their attention. Whether or not she ever touched a $1 billion check directly, the narrative paints her as the new favorite. And in Hollywood, sometimes perception can change the whole game. But here's the twist. The numbers don't lie. Kim still has billions in brand value locked in. Sydney's brand is just starting out. One is established, the other unproven. Yet online, the story flipped overnight to make it look like Kim was left behind. And that tells us something bigger. Sometimes reputation moves faster than reality. So now I want to put the spotlight on you. Do you think Kim was truly outplayed here? Or is this just the internet exaggerating a normal business move? Was Sydney actually chosen over Kim? Or did the tabloids stitch together a narrative that doesn't match the receipts? And maybe the biggest question of all, does it even matter? In a world where attention equals power, maybe perception is the reality. Some people say Kim losing a billion-dollar deal is proof she's no longer the cultural center she once was. Others argue she doesn't need Bezos at all. She already has her own empire. And then there are those who believe Sydney is simply the shiny new face for now, but whether she can build an empire that lasts like SKIMS is a whole different challenge. So, what do you think? Was this a humiliating snub, a smart business play, or just gossip getting out of control? Was Kim Kardashian the one who lost here? Or is Sydney the one stepping into a lane she may not be ready for? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I'm genuinely curious how you see it. Is this the start of a power shift, or just another viral story that will fade in a few weeks?